You can remove and replace the circuit board and battery in the Vision Club with nothing but a pair of chopsticks. I'm going to show you how. First, let's remove the cap. Underneath the cap is what we call a flange clip. And I'm just going to turn off the light in the club so that you can see things a little bit better. So this flange clip kind of clips into the flange. I'm going to separate the chopsticks now because we're going to need them apart anyway. And you can actually use a key to do this if you just need to get under that flange for some reason. But you basically, there's a gap, not on the USB side, but the other side, where you can get the point of a key or a chopstick in there. And just try, you're not going to break this thing if you tried. So you kind of pry it out. And this clip is actually attached with some heavy gauge monofilament to the circuit board. And the circuit board is held in by the flange. In order to get it out, we're going to have to rotate it 90 degrees. So I'm going to use the chopsticks here and put one on each side of the circuit board. So stick the chopsticks in. I'm going to use those to twist the circuit board until now you can see it is clear of the ledges that were holding it down before. So now I can actually use the flange to pull it out. The flange clip. So grabbing the flange clip enables you to pull that out. Now, once you get to the battery, that's actually going to get stuck on those same ledges. So you need to rotate it to the point where the battery and the circuit board are kind of splitting the difference. And you get, I'm looking at my monitor here, so you can see there's kind of a, it's like at 45 degrees pretty much to where it normally sits during use. And that enables the battery and the circuit board to kind of fit through that rectangular opening. And then you gotta really pull, because there's these bumpers that hold everything in place and make it nice and secure, and they catch on things. And it's pretty scary. I mean, it feels like you're gonna break it. You gotta pull real hard and it's gonna suddenly slide, and the LEDs are gonna catch on the inside of the flange, and it's just gonna feel terrible. It feels like you're gonna break it. This will not void your warranty if you do. This is totally covered. We really encourage people to work on things themselves, and this is the way we do it here, except we have a special tool instead of chopsticks. Chopstick works just as good. And we haven't broken one this way yet, but it always feels like we're going to. So it's not just you. Once you get that out, you'll see the battery itself, and you can remove, we'll do a separate video on actually replacing the battery, but basically it's replaceable. The connector is glued down, and you can just peel off the glue. It's really soft silicone glue, and replace it. The flange clip is there. If for some reason you need to replace just this component, if we've sent you this, here it is. Getting it back in is also a little bit tricky. When you first go to put it in, this end is going to catch right around here shortly before this end catches. So you go to put it in, there's this point where it's like you can't quite tell what it's getting stuck on. And what you need to do is, can you look down and you can actually see it, kinda, but it gets blocked by everything. There we go. No, what is that? Okay, so you gotta get the battery past the flange, just a little bit, and then wiggle it around there until it slides up to that first bumper. Once it's slid up to that bumper, this is in all the way. Now, I recommend make sure that the flange clip is out of the way. Is that going to get in the way? Nope, that looks good. And the battery and the board are about 45 degrees to that ledge. And you kind of hold things and give it a good bop until it pushes down to the next bumper. Now at the next bumper, I'm going to do it again. I would recommend supporting it with your hand. You do not want to just completely bend and fold the board. This kind of thing is not going to hurt it, but if you just totally slammed on this, you could snap the board. So don't do that. Really support it. You can start with just little taps until it goes all the way. You might want to wear gloves for this if you have very sensitive hands. The corners of the LEDs are really sharp. I haven't actually cut myself doing this, but it does kind of hurt sometimes. You don't want to get pinched up in the flange there. You just kind of tap it. Once you get past those two main bumpers, the rest is pretty easy. Getting it in there all the way. You can push it down. So now you can see the way that's all lined up in there relative to the ledges. Now to get at that last little bit, I'm going to use a chopstick again on the table. What you want to avoid here is damaging the button or the USB jack. So I'm going to use the chopstick, square end of the chopstick against the flat part of the PCB here. And I'm going to use that just to push, making sure that I'm not pushing on the button or the USB jack. That was it actually, it just slid in all the way. So now it's all the way in there. You can see the PCB is down below or at the edge of the ledge. Now we need to twist it in place again. So I'm going to use the chopsticks and put those on either side of the circuit board here and twist. Oh, what's going on with that one? There we go. And it's a little hard to see with the flange clip there, but you're basically twisting it until the circuit board is totally perpendicular to those ledges and caught underneath the ledges. This is what prevents it from going out of the club when the club strikes the ground. So now that I've done that, I want to get this flange clip back into place. And this is a little funky. It tends to kind of fold down in a way that makes it harder to get in. You basically just kind of want to massage it in there. You can use the chopstick. You'll see there's like, let's see if I can show you, there's kind of a groove underneath that the circuit board needs to fit inside of. And then it kind of fits underneath the ledges and prevents the circuit board from twisting during use. So this kind of blocks some debris from getting inside the club and mostly prevents the circuit board from twisting. So just kind of massage that in there. It's not a totally perfect fitting part. There's a little bit of wiggle room, there's a little bit of smush to it. It's a flexible part. You just need to get it pretty much in there. You should be able to get to the USB jack and it should all be down. And then put your cap back on and that button should still feel good. If the flange clip is down properly, it's not going to interfere with the button and you'll know because the button still feels nice. And that is how you remove and replace the core of your club.